Are we live? We're live, Bruno. We're live. You ready? You're like, I have been ready, but I need you to step down for a second. All right, welcome. Hi, anybody out there? Can you hear me? Can you see me? You hear Toby and Bruno jumping around? Okay, so where are you? Where are we? Where are we at? I can't speak. That's where we're at. Toby, Toby found one of the toys I made him, so I can't be mad at him for eating it. Yeah. Anyways, where are we at? I am helping a friend out with a fashion emergency. Whoops, what was that? Toby. And the emergency is they are a bridesmaid in their cousin's bridal party, and everybody has the exact same dress, and nobody has the exact same shape or size. And this dress was ordered at one size in order to accommodate one number, but needs to be adjusted in a different area. So they went and got the dress adjusted, but there were still some things that they just did not feel comfortable. The dress didn't feel right. And so they asked me to help out. And the first thing that I did was I smoothed out all the wrinkles in the princess seam. It needs to get pressed, but the seams are now flat and they're flushed and they all line up. And whoops, I got to hand stitch this little spot right here at that seam. Oh, thank you, Toby. And then one of the other issues is that the off the shoulder, little shoulders, flappy things, they are completely lined in non-slip elastic so that it doesn't fall off, but there was no stretch to the elastic. The elastic was just stitched solid all the way around. So I cut it at the shoulder seam and took in 2.5 inches of negative ease. So I took 1.25 inches on either side, pushing the elastic this way so I didn't cut it permanently where I can't adjust it if it's too tight. And then I spread the fullness all the way around and pinned it in place. Now, normally I bounce between where I'm starting and ending so that I can get the fullness eased in the most in the center. But I am going to start just push when I stitch, I'm going to start at this end and work my way towards the back so that the fullness is flatter in the front and more gathery in the back so that this little bit of tug will be more visible in the back than in the front. But I can't speak right. I actually had a drink of water and I think I left it in the other room. Oh well. But I have these all more or less evenly pinned out. This one got popped out. Let me just. But I'm going to hand stitch this in place. And the reason I'm hand stitching it and not using the sewing machine is because I'm only going to stitch to the lining layer, and I can just do it with a little whip stitch really quick and be done with it, even though there's a little bit of a tricky gathering. That's why I pinned it. Yeah, so that's going to be a bunch of smooshing. But the big thing that I want to accomplish today is I want to add a belt to this. Their waist hits right here. That's about 2 inches of 2.25 inches above where the waistline is actually hitting. And I've been thinking about it. Part of me wanted to cut the boning, this little plastic boning that's inside of here, so that even though I'm not raising the waistline, I can eliminate that a couple inches of the boning so that the boning hits right at the waistline, so then it is not going to bend and pucker. But since I'm adding a belt, I don't think it's gonna need that's gonna be necessary. And if anything, having the boning extended to where the belt is, it's going to help it hold everything together and push everything up and in the proper places that we actually want everything to be held in position, hence the boning. So I have arguments as to shortening it, but I also have arguments to keeping it long. So I'm going to err on not shortening it. And if I do another fitting and it would make a difference, I'll snip it. It wouldn't be a big deal. But for now, I think I'm going to leave the boning full length. But in order to, I can't change the waistline on this because then my hem is going to be 2 inches too short because it's already been hemmed and there's no wiggle room in the hemming. So in order to raise the waistline without physically raising this line, I am going to do a belt. A belt that's kind of inspired by belt's not hanging with it. I see where it is. Hold on 1 second. Oh, it fell. But a belt that is inspired by this belt. This belt is, let the lights adjust. It is a satin charmeuse champagne cummerbund. I guess you could say, fancy way to say cummerbund. But I want to do just half of it and then do ties on either side so that I have a nice placard. You can't see. So I have a nice placard that's flat and that's going to hold everything where you want it, you know. And then I want to do it as a tie so that there's adjustment room. This one is at the measurement it is, then there's no adjusting it, but it still works. So, but I do like the gathering that's going on. The front is gathered, but oops, the back is not. So the front is gathered into the back. I was considering just doing a solid one, but I think since we're doing the line and it is doing just kind of a blending job as it is, I was just going to do a little bit of a gather into a rectangle. This one is probably the width that I want it to be when it's finished. So I have to add seam allowance to this width, which is 3 inches. So if I do 3.5 inches, if I use this ruler that has the 3 inches plus my ½ inch seam allowance or a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around, that should be good. And then I am going to measure this from side seam to side seam. That's 5 inches. Okay, we are at 17. 17 doubled would be, okay. Math. But that's where I'm going to start. Hello, Dan Does Junk. Welcome to my live stream. Welcome, Austin Lips. I hope I just caught you guys all up on what I'm working on. Pieces to props. Hello, everyone. Nice to catch a live stream. Welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm live today working on a side quest. 17, I'm going to do 17 and a half. So I'm going to do a 17-inch placard for my belt. And so the fabric that I have to make the belt is the hem. And we're going to talk about this hem a little bit. See how this piece of fabric is nice and flowy and drapey, and it is very unevenly removed. That's not necessarily means the hem's uneven. It just means that it has biases and straight of grains, and this fabric pulls and drapes in different ways. So this would be straight of grain, but as we start to come this way, we go into more of the bias and it pulls more and more in funny directions. So if you have a circle skirt, your center front and center back, if they're on the selvage, so the grain and the straight up in grains, that they're the most sturdy. The bias between your straight of grains, between your with your grid, it's going to act like those accordion hook things. I don't know. I just imagine the thing that hangs over my grandma's laundry thing. That's the rectangles that stretch out and stretch in. And that's what the bias is doing. It's just pulling. So it's going to pull all your straight of grains short, and it's going to lengthen at the bias. So it's going to give you kind of a scalloped edge, handkerchief edge around your hemline. So doing circle skirts in general, it's better to kind of cut as you go, because the weight of the fabric will start pulling and you can end up having your dress shorter than you expect. Oh my goodness. Lots and lots of issues. But I recommend adjusting anything that you're going to adjust on your dress on the bodice first and then hemming. I wouldn't start with hemming and then adjusting the bodice, because if there's any adjustments you have to do to the bodice, make them there first. It's going to make a bigger impact. Hemming's easier. But a belt, a sash, those are safety pins, are your best friends. They really are. But I'm going to use this extra hem fabric to make my tie. And I want the tie to more or less be as long as I possibly can. This is the straight of grain, and it starts to curve as it comes to here. So if I straighten that out, I can have my two edges, and then I can make my belt itself out of this extra piece. Okay, that's the plan for now. Just gonna use my little scissors. Austin Lips, how is your night going tonight, Felicia? It's actually going really nice. After the live stream yesterday, I went to bed, but this morning I ended up talking to 3 out of my 5 bridesmaids or best friends from way back when, and had some very good conversations with them. So I'm still kind of like all smiley after that, because, you know, good friends. They make friends are the family you choose, and weddings are the biggest example of that, in my opinion. And I have some very good friends, and I genuinely appreciate them. Yeah, so Kira, Brianne, or Adrian, if you're watching this, I love you. Chanel, you too. But yeah, so I think I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, my friend Kira, she's like, oh, I got photos, and she dug up, just off the internet, some 2 out of 3 or 4 bridesmaid dresses. I'm not going to share the photos just because, you know, they're very personal, and I love my friends, and I'm not going to put them up for judgment. But but yeah, so pretty good. Okay. Where are you guys seeing the most table space? I come this way. So I have this piece of fabric. It's really wide in the center and narrower on the things because right here is probably the straightest of the grain. And I can see the grain line. Yeah, this is the most bias. I line these up. I can see my grain line. This is a straight line. This is a curved line. Haha, you guys. So this is kind of more curvy than this, but this is definitely straight of grain right here. And so if I square up from here, I can have my placard. I wanted it all kind of gathered in the front into this size of a piece. And it looks like I'm not going to gather it this way. And I only need 17.5 inches, which is right like a half an inch longer than this thing. So just the pink edge falling off on the fold. Hold on. What is 17.5 divided by 2? 17.5 divided by 2. Anyone can do it quicker than my ruler? Probably. I'll laugh. 8.75. Is that right? Is that right? 8.75. That goes up to 17.5. 8.75. So right there. 8.75. So on the fold, it would be to here. I want this the full gathered down into this rectangle, so I think this is going to be good. I am going to square this edge up, and then I'm going to square this edge up. And I have the lining piece, so I'm going to use this for the back of my placard only. This piece should work just fine, but I'm going to use an interfacing. What does all of this mean? Okay, this is going to be on my outside. This is going to be on my inside closest to the dress. And then between those two layers, I am going to sandwich something that is going to give structure and support and hold everything flat and where I want it. And I am going to use, hi Bruno. Jeez, I have a lot of this. Some heavy cotton muslin. Oh, no, that's not for you. This stuff's really freaking heavy. So it is very straight of grain, so I'm not super worried. Oh, wow, lots of people in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm like actually getting stuff done, so give me 2 seconds, and then I will start reading chat. Okay. Why do I tear fabric? Because fabric tends to, unless it's a fancy weave or something crazy like a damage, fabric tears straight of grain. And if it tears straight of grain, I can't necessarily cut it straight of grain. So I know it's straight. Okay, Toby, you can lay on the giant piece of tarp now if you want. I have the piece I need from it. And it's freshly laundered and washed. Okay, washing your fabrics is a pain in the butt, and I don't always do it. I will admit to it, especially if I plan on dry cleaning the garment or not actually ever washing the garment the traditional way because it's like lined in foam or leather, something ridiculous. But in general, if you wash your fabrics before you start, you already have the pre-shrinkage, and you won't have to like stress out about laundering, ruining all your hard work. So freshly washed fabric. it's your friend. Because cotton shrinks. Cotton shrinks up. It's funny, like t-shirts, if you ever notice if they're 100% cotton, after you wash them, they're shorter and wider. Specifically shorter and wider because the cotton fibers soak up the water and they get all full of the water. And when they dry, they're shorter and they're wider. And they keep that shape. So fabrics can be interesting, that's for sure. Okay. Pieces to prop says, question, can you knit or crochet and which do you think is harder? Yes, I can knit and I can crochet. And honestly, after knitting and crocheting, I appreciate how much easier sewing is because you don't have to build the fabric and then put it together. You can just like put the fabric together and you're like skipping a whole set of like weaving or knitting. But out of crocheting or knitting, it depends. It really does. I like how flat knits are, like especially a good rib knit, and I like how utilitarian they are. Like there's a lot of uses for knits, but it uses less yarn, relatively less yarn than crocheting. I feel like crocheting uses up more yarn fast for the amount of fabric, your material you're making, or but I like how lacy it is and how freeform it is. So I really do like crocheting. I do like knitting. My skill level depends on the project I want. So if there's something I like and it's really hard, I will figure it out because I want it to look like that. But also sometimes I just pick easy projects like washcloths so I can just get the habit out of there, get the practice out of, you know what I mean. But knitting and crocheting, they're even, one's not necessarily harder than the other. I can knit both left-handed and right-handed, but I can only crochet right-handed. I learned to knit both ways because my little sister's a lefty and I'm kind of both. I can't do either hand right, but so knitting's easier to go back and forth between hands where crocheting I can't. So I think knitting technically would be easier in that case on technicalities. So long-winded, but there's my answer. Austin Lips, I just joined the live stream. Welcome. Dandis Jack says, I don't know if Odin mentioned, but I'll be present at the shop on Sunday. He did mention something about that. So this Sunday, I am going to be over at Sacramento Media Center on Odin Makes live stream over on his channel, Odin Makes. And we are going to finally get started working on that neutrino one this year because we haven't worked on it all year. Like the last 2 times we attempted to, weather has been like, nope. But we're going to try again this week and hopefully things will work out. So, and then Dan's going to be there joining us. So that should be fun. Yes. I think we're going to be doing a lot of sanding. So yes, wear black because the foam dust is ridiculous. Austin Lip's not really good with math. You don't have to be. Like, I just fold it in half and it does my math. I do my math off of my number line so I can just tangibly make sense of my numbers. Anyways, Dan does junk. Hi, Bruno Head. Hi, Bruno. I think I missed something in the chat. Pieces to Prop says, I'll eventually try it, but 100% I'm ready to fail. Like Adam Savage said, failure is always an option. LOL. Agreed. But sometimes I'll be afraid before or after. You can't freak out in the middle because that's when you get hurt and make your stupid mistakes. So just in general, yes, I fully accept failure, but I could be afraid after. or before, but like when I'm going in, I can't think about it. Okay. I needed it 17.5 inches long. This is going to be my center. No, I don't have a pen in my hair. You know, I wasn't thinking I would need a pen. I suppose I don't. $17.5. Bruno, what's wrong? Why are you crying? You look comfy. I'm going to throw that over there so I don't get that rectangle mixed up with this rectangle, because now this rectangle is a pattern piece and no longer just a rectangle of fabric. All right, I have a grid. There is a lines going straight up and straight down, and if I pull it this way, it's strong and sturdy, and if I pull it this way, it's strong and sturdy, and if I pull it this way, it's not. So keeping it nice and strong and sturdy. This piece is now going to make these nice floppy, soft, silky pieces strong and sturdy. At least that's the plan. Want to keep this as wide as possible, but at the same time, I want to keep it as straight up grain as I want to square it up as best as I can. Okay. 8.75. I have my scissors right here on this side of the camera. Toby, are you laying on them? They're right here. Toby, I have lots of scissors. Oh well, here's my bag of scissors. Toby's laying on my big scissors, so I have my bag of scissors right here. I'll go with these ones. These ones, I may make Toby get up and take my big giant tailoring shears from him because this is a satin. Okay, so I have a grid on this ruler and I'm lining it up with the grid of my fabric. On this fold, I am straight of grain. So straight of grain meaning right on my grid. If I wasn't straight of grain, it would be, my fabric would be like this and you could feel it. But right on the fold, right along the lines, everything's nice and straight and flat. So this I know is straight. So now that I know that this fold is straight, everything this way, I need to keep it all perpendicular. And so I line it up on one of my lines on my ruler. And I am just going to have to square everything up from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's more than enough. If these scissors don't cut it, I will grab my good ones. Oh, they grip fine. Okay. I was nervous because, you know, scissors that don't cut are frustrating. And these aren't bent handle dress shears. Bent handle dress shears mean I don't have to cut them at this funny angle because it would be bent so that the blade is parallel with the ground. Toby. Anyways, let me square off this edge. Dan Does Junk says mainly to try and help with productivity on the build. Oh, nice. I think the things that were really kind of stuck up on the Proton Pack build is grinding on the Neutrino one because we need to do the grips and we need to wire up the LED lights, but that one is a whole bunch of soldering, and soldering apparently is really boring on a live stream. So we're going to try and do that not on live stream, but I haven't worked on the proton pack at all. So because this is going to be gathered, I feel like I have a little more control eyeballing it at the moment. Okay. And let me square this piece off. Yeah. Okay. It's okay, I'm only live, but be good. I'm just cutting my rectangle. I have a big rectangle. I have an internal rectangle. And now I just need a back rectangle. This little piece is big enough. I'm going to use it. Okay. Austin Lip says, this might be weird. I'm lefty and I eat with my right hand and write with my left hand. It's weird, but true. I 100% get it. If you sit next to a bunch of right-handers, it's easier to be a lefty, especially when eating in close quarters with others. Yeah, I don't know. I switch back and forth. In gymnastics, they wanted us to pick a side, a dominant side, and I couldn't, and I would switch out between, and it used to frustrate my coach so much. Oh, that's too short. Oh, well, I only need one piece out of this. So, and this fabric is a knit. It is not a woven, so it has lines that go straight up and down that are all the ribs of the knit that I'm following to see where my straight of grain is, because it feels really wonky doing it on hem pieces. Because if you look here, sorry, Toby. So if you see here, this piece is going round and this piece is kind of rounding here, and I have this piece straight out here. This is my, just make sure that I'm lined up on the grid. Yeah, this is my parallel line right here. So this is where I'm straight, and I just need a rectangle that's the same size as this rectangle. Easy peasy. And this is my fabric that's going to be the back. All my scraps I'm going to put out of my way so I don't accidentally think that they are my fabric pieces. Because when you're in little bits and bobs, everything looks like garbage. But yeah, that's my straight line. That's my great. Okay, that's great. Okay. Pieces to props. Whenever you get the dress from the video out, you can be sure the dress from video, you can be sure I'm going to make one. I absolutely love my dress form, and I have all the pattern pieces right there. Bath and Body Works in this bag. I laugh because No, this is literally all my pattern pieces. Labeled and ready to go to make dress forms. And I want to scan these into my computer so that I can hook them up to my laser cutter and print them out at half scale so that I can have a half scale dress form in my proportions, which I feel like I've been talking about doing for 3 years now, but I have the pattern pieces that's been patterned, it's been made, it's been shot, and now I have a laser cutter, so. But I'm here doing side quests. It'll be fun. Yeah. Is your table a screen? I saw it on the last stream and was super jelly and wanted to do that. This is just a glass desk, and I have a projector light up right underneath it, right here. Toby likes to kick it because he's right here at my feet. See, this is me kicking over the light. But yes, that is my light. Okay, back to cutting out things. I'm just gonna. I don't know why I'm suffering. No. Spring-loaded ones, bent handle. The difference between a regular paper scissors and dressmaking shears is these ones have more of an angle, so you're flatter with the thing. And then these ones with the cool little, it reminds me of those period flintlock guns that we had at the costume shop, the little lock thing, but they're spring-loaded, so they bounce open. But oh yeah, no, that's like night and day. Okay, so when you spend a lot of time cutting things out, boy, you need to have good scissors. Although I really like using the power tools at this point. We had a rotary cutter, an electronic rotary cutter that I absolutely love. No, it wasn't Ryobi brand. I like the little paper one, but it's not good for fabric. We had a industrial one that was amazing, and we would just use that to cut out lace and silk and fabrics. And power tools are great, but so are a good pair of scissors. All right, scraps, let's get those out of the way because I don't want to get them confused. So this is wrong side, this is right side. Right side's going to be out. That's going to be there. And then this piece. Okay, so we're going to build the sandwich. This piece is going to ultimately be on the inside, but for now it is our bottom piece. This piece of fabric, I don't know if you guys can tell, there's a right side and there's a wrong side to it. I'm going to do it so that the right side is facing up on top of my interfacing or interlining. And they are all matched up and flat. And I'm just going to pin it kind of around so that it stays all together where I want it. But the good thing is there's plenty of friction between the two pieces of fabric that it works like a felt board and they stay pretty much where you want them to stay in general. But still. Put that to the side, and we're going to take my other rectangle that we made. Look, it's straight of grain. It holds its shape when we hold it this way. It holds its shape when we hold it this way. But it's definitely on the bias when we hold it this way. You can see the bias. And you can also hear fabric when it's straight of grain. Anyways, yeah. There's a different sound, whether it's the warp or the weft. The warp is the stronger one, so it gives you a louder noise. The weft is the filler. Just, I think, left and right. The left and right. And the weft is the filler thread, so it's the weaker way. And so usually you want the weft going around the body and the stronger pillars of the warp threads going up and down the body in general. But there is always exceptions to the rules, but you need to know the rules in order to break them correctly, in my opinion. All right, sewing machine. I'm going to do a straight stitch on either side, and I am going to turn up the tension on the top only because that's the only one you can adjust. I'm going to up the tension only to 8, and I am going to increase the stitch length to a basting stitch, so as long as it can possibly stitch. And I'm going to do this within the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Leaving long threads because I even go so I can hold on to these and adjust my gathers as I want, because now we have a nice gathered edge. Let's do that to the other side. Okay. Now these pieces should be able to all line up around. So I'm going to take the right side of this fabric to the right side of this fabric and put them right sides together in our sandwich. And pin it in place. Okay. Pieces to props. Tell Ryobi to make power scissors. LOL, sorry, can't spell. No, I get it. Yeah, no, I know exactly the specs that I want. I want the light. You know how drills have that little guide light? I like the light on the power scissors because it shows you right where the blade's hitting, and it's very helpful. I like the self-sharpening blade. It makes the blades last longer, and you can keep them sharp as you're doing lace and silks and satins, and that makes a big difference. The little teeny tiny one doesn't have a sharpener built in. I would take the sharpener over the light, but I like both features. And yeah, I prefer the larger blade size too. So the circles that are about this big as opposed to the smaller size. So yes, I have opinions. But the tools, when they work right, it makes the job significantly easier. I have self-sharpening shears. Ooh, nice. Sharp scissors make a big difference. Sharp blades make a big difference. That's why these little brand new paper scissors, they're still sharp because they're fresh out of the package and haven't been dulled by paper yet. They cut nicely, but these things, now these things are sharp. Don't use them for anything but fabric. All right, so I'm kind of taking this edge and I am gently letting out some of my gathers so that this corner meets up with this corner. but I want to keep it as gathery as possible. So I'm just trying to gently do it. Okay. Pieces to prop C, you know all the specs. We can make this happen, lol. Yes. No, I have all the pieces. I really do. Okay. I'm pretty happy with those gathers. Is this like, oh no, it's just because it's curved. All right, it's pinning. But if I pin well, this whole job will be easy. And if I don't pin it, I'll struggle. And I know. So the knit fabric is staying in place very nicely. But the satin fabric on the softer side of the knit, they just want to slip around. So I'm just giving a bunch of pins. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna. So I'm trying to keep this piece that is bigger gathered into here. So I am going to now. I pinned the top and I pinned this side. Now I'm going to pin this side, and then I'm going to adjust the gathers on this side. And then if I don't like the gathers, I can take it out and just iron it flat and do it as just a rectangle. But I think it's going to be nice. I'm going to stitch these two sides and flip it inside out, and then I'm going to gather this side. I think that's going to be my exit strategy or my flipping strategy, because then I can really control these gathers and put them more where I want them to land when I'm finished. Yeah. It's okay, I'm just making this up as I go. Yep. So today when I was talking to my friends about, the dresses, it made me happy because the friends that I talked to, they still have their dresses, which I was shocked because I was like, hey, I don't have a single one of my bridesmaid dresses. And I hoard dresses, I hoard costumes and vintage clothing. I hoard clothing as much as I try not to. My friends know I do. And for some reason, I don't have all those dresses. But yeah, one friend, she had hers customs. It was a I had everybody wear navy, but whatever style navy that you wanted. And I went shopping with each of my friends to help them find a dress that they felt happy in. And one friend, she ended up picking out a vintage Vogue pattern and had her sewn to her measurements. And oh my gosh, did it look good on her. Other friend had a stretchy navy dress that, like, she wore it when she was this pregnant, about to pop, like after the wedding, not during the wedding or before. But, and the thing is she was telling me about the last time she wore it, and I was like, I did not realize, like, it did not dawn that she was pregnant at that time. Like, the party that I saw her at, which was James's retirement party, and I had no idea. And she it, the dress was very flattering. I'm just going to say that. And then other friend, they had a nice empire, very flowy, and they wore it with a sweater. It was really cute. I think, yeah. And then Hava, I don't think they still have theirs, but yeah, it was nice reminiscing. I'm not going to lie about that. Okay, let me stitch all the way around, turn it inside out, and then fix this. I may have to just stitch it closer to the edge. We'll see. I turned my sewing machine off and on again, so I'm back at the standard stitch length. I'm going to increase it by 2 beeps, 2 clicks. Okay, 3 clicks. No, 2 clicks. 3.5, that's long enough. I'm not going to do it the full basting length, and I'm going to make sure that I turn it back to the normal tension, because we just did a high tension to gather, and we don't want to gather this. That would be a pain in the butt. So this fabric's sturdy. This fabric's all wishy-washy. We're going to put the sturdy fabric on the feed dogs. The feed dogs are the little things that push your fabric from the bottom. So we're going to put the sturdy fabric down, and my sewing machine has Teflon, not titanium, Teflon tape on the presser foot, and I have noticed a major difference with doing weird fabrics, silky fabrics, plastics, crazy weird stuff, that it tends to really make it significantly smoother using the sewing machine. I have used this sewing machine all through college. I got one when I was like 16, and I used and abused it, and I upgraded when I graduated to this really nice embroidery machine that did not travel well, and I ended up breaking when I was bringing it back and forth at Swash. That was no fun. But then right when the pandemic hit, my other sewing machines broke. I had 3 that broke on me right in a row. They were all vintage, old ones. And I said, screw it, I'm going to get the old sewing machine back. But then, yeah, prices soared. So I waited till it hit the price point, because I wasn't going to spend more than $175 on this. And I think that's what I spent on this sewing machine. And this sewing machine is amazing. I absolutely love it. I let everybody use it over at the SAC Anime, and nobody like struggled with it or had it beeping or screw up. And you don't usually just let random strangers use your sewing machine, because there's going to be problems. I had no issues, like miracle. But the things that I really like about this sewing machine is I added this little blue thing. It's the teeniest tiny thing, and it's Thread Magic, which is a thread conditioner. So it is conditioning my thread before it goes through my sewing machine and my needle. So it is making it, if you've ever heard me talk about nose grease, it makes it soak through the fabrics and the weird materials significantly easier because it's a thread lubrication, I suppose. And then the Teflon on the presser foot helps things slide in. So like working with crazy, bulky, weird, delicate fabrics, these two little tiny upgrades make a weirdly huge difference. So that's why I mentioned them. But end of rant. Okay, I'm at my right stitch length. I'm not super tight on my tension. And I am not going to back stitch this. I am just going to stitch all the way around. Always back stitch, but I'm not going to. Shh, don't tell. Okay. Bernie Davis, howdy. I got my Hasbro Proton pack today and I'm loving it so much. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Like people are getting their packs in all over the place. It's exciting. That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. Pieces Prop, I'm happy catching a live stream. I normally get to watch them in replay. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, Pieces to Prop, rip Death Star. Oh my gosh, Death Star. I had high hopes for Death Star. Don't worry, I'm only live. I will call them back later. Oops. Oh well. Death Star was the industrial sewing machine. It's the gray Singer that you can get at Walmart. They have a computerized version and a non-computerized version. I got the non-computerized version because that was the one that they had available. Anyways, I had high hopes for it. I absolutely hated everything about it, and I broke it within the first month of owning it. I should have returned it. I didn't. I just was like, I couldn't believe that this industrial, super heavy duty sewing machine, that this lightweight sewing machine has like stuff that I threw at Death Star is nothing but compared to what I've done with this poor sewing machine. So Death Star, very disappointing. I shouldn't have named it Death Star, but apparently the name was fitting. I'm stabbed. Okay. It's right at that gathered corner. I'm going to take it straight back. Just smoosh it. All right. One straight line down. Now time for this straight line. Make sure my gathers are as even as they're going to be because this is where they're going to be from now on forever and ever. And pull all my gathers this way. Find it flat. Oh no, tangled. Okay. And now it's time to go this way. that sound. Do I keep going? Oh, silky fabrics are nice and okay. So let me trim these corners before. Because these are on a rectangle, I think I'm going to cut out the squares on these corners. I have different opinions on how you trim your seam allowance depending on the property, but depending on the pieces. Since this is a square and it's getting sewn into a square shape, if I cut out the little square, it will lay nicer. Because I can fold the seam allowances, but if it's on a curve, I might just cut straight across. All right, let's turn this inside out now. Okay. Well, that was nice. Okay. So I'm going to turn this back inside out the other way because I was going to add the ties and not just make the cummerbund like this. I need to add the ties to this. And I'm going to attach them on either side, and then we're going to have a lovely sashy belt. But I have to leave the sides open for the ties. That's okay. It's not like I can't rip it out. Okay. Yeah, let me turn it back inside out. Okay. Going to cut it on this side, even though it's harder to see, just because there's only one line of stitching and not my gathers and my sewing. Okay. It's okay. We got this. All right. That's all I have to do. Now I need to add my ties on these ends, and then we can flip everything from there. Put this back over here. Okay. My tie. This is my dress that I'm working on. Extra fabric pieces. Okay. And here is a piece. I only have the hemline to make this belt with, which is a lot of fabric, but it's a lot of drapey, soft, silky fabric that's not on straight of grain, so it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky, just a little, but it will be gorgeous when I'm done, I promise. Okay. Work stinks, but the tacos aren't going to make themselves. Ooh, tacos sound delicious. Okay, Bernie Davis. Okay, I can see you again. Felicia, did I go off? I hope not. Ace. Hi, Felicia, and everyone else. Just got done laser engraving a few microfiber towels. If you haven't tried it yet, Felicia, you need to. It's pretty cool. I'm still a little intimidated. I have the laser cutter. It's literally right there behind all y'all, staring at me. I want to play with it, but I'm like, I don't know why I haven't yet. I'm going to. It's okay. I'm on a side quest right now. I'm being productive, so I can't feel guilty for not working on that project. But I saw those microfiber cloths on the Odin Makes Discord. I was really impressed. I think that's really cool. Like all the things you can laser cutter. You can laser cut. It's like, oh, you can do fabrics, you can do wood, you can do plastic, you can do foam. It's like there's too many possibilities, but I'm super excited. Pieces of prop. I know Jersey's the hike for you and Odin, but ever be in the area, Taco Bell is on me. Gotta like the T-Bell. Yeah, I used to straight up order the 2 chalupa meal. That was my go-to, chalupa supreme. I also like the tostadas, but they don't make those anymore. Okay. So right here at this seam, I am 100% straight of grain. 100%. So I am going to take that as far this way as I can on both sides. I want to do something, but I'm live and people would see it. I wish I had a pencil. I would just draw on the fabric the whole way down my line. That way I knew it was straight. It's going to be in the inside and nobody's going to see my marks. I should get a proper pen for this. 2 seconds. Let me see. I'm going to make a mess of this, but it's going to look good. Nope, it wasn't right there. Not meant to be. I won't cheat. Not cheat. It's not cheating. It's not cheating, but I won't draw on it. I'll just cut it straight as nicely as I can. But I'm going to fold it this way and cut this nub so it lays flatter. Okay, extra fabric laid out flat. And can you guys see how? So oh, that wasn't magnetic. I'm gonna stop that. Okay. Pull it more towards me. This is a straight line. This is a straight line. So if I make this straight with this, we are this curved. But that makes sense because think about it. On a skirt, it's a pie shaped. It's an A line. So this curve is a natural curve. You guys can't see it 100%, but there's definitely a curve going, squaring off from here. Because if I kept right here square, it curves immediately. And if I put the square here, yeah. I want to keep these as long as possible though, so that I have nice long ties. But granted, it's going to be 8 inches longer than this, so I can Okay. I'm trying to think because I need them to be an even rectangle, but I'm going to be sewing it into a tube. And it's just going to tie in a bow. So it's not going to be the end of the world if it's not straight of grain. I want that long. This is so wonky. I love it though. What if I think this is where I'm going to go. All right, that's my game plan. This is how I'm going to keep it as long as I can possibly with the most neutral of the grain lines. The grain lines! If they didn't make such a big difference, I wouldn't make such a big deal about them, but they really do. Ace, I'm slowly burn everything I can, Bernie. I just need more hours in the day. Burn all the things. Okay. The important thing when you're cutting something on the fold is to make sure that you cut it at a 90, like at a straight line. Even if you're going to cut a curve, that way you don't have funny points right where that fold is. All right, there's one side. There are two pieces that are as long as wide as I can get them to be. Let me cut it apart here. I'm just going to cut off these extra little pieces of seam allowance because I don't need them and I didn't calculate them into my mathing, into my problems. You okay, Toby? Thought Spooky was there. All right, cut off these ends. Bernie Davis says leather, steel, stone, bone, laser, engraving, and everything. Ooh. So they went all out. It's not like a cheap piece of plastic. Like, it's exciting. That's awesome. I want to see one in real life now. Okay. This end, and let me chop off this end. All right. I don't know if this is the best or the right width, but I was able to get 2 solid rectangles with the that are going to work as ties out of the scraps of the ad. So I am going to fold these in half now and sew along this all the way down to make my tie. Okay. I am stitching at mid-stitch length again. So this side is my square side. This side has a little bit of, it's off. So I'm going to start at my square side and sew towards my not square side because that side is not going to line up. But I want everything to lay as flat as it possibly can and doesn't twist on me. I don't want twisting. That's what I'm trying to avoid. In fact, I have a hot iron ready. Right sides together. This is going to get nice and narrow, but it is what it is. It's what I could get, okay? I don't like that sound. What is happening? Okay. Ah! So typically I like to have I have a magnetic ironing mat that I just keep underneath my sewing machine. So as I'm sewing, I can be ironing. But on this glass table, I'm just like worried about breaking it or something. So I have a little ironing board. And the sewing machine has to get moved out of the way. Out of the picture for y'all. Oh wow, time is flying. I will get this belt done. I might not do the hand sewing. That's annoying. That's boring to watch. But now don't press the wrinkles. You don't want an off-grain tube like this. You can get really big, ugly things happening, but it's not super off-grain. I'm going to start at this end, and I am just going to take my time and use my little clapper and just slowly make my way to the edge. Sounds like y'all are making a taco party. Ooh, in the comments. This isn't very hot of an iron. It just scares me. I have been burned by hot irons. This one is my set iron. My favorite iron I left over at the media center. Odin currently has it. It's a wireless one because I like wireless things. My favorite irons are Rowenta brand, but those ones are like they're dangerous. They're really dangerous. I had one that had left off for like 15-30 minutes, and I was traveling with it and I just didn't even think about it, and I just put my arm down and I burnt the whole part of my arm. It was crazy. It was painful, but dang, was that a good iron. That was a very good iron. I miss it. All right, now do I have a safety pin? I do have a safety pin. I usually have safety pins. Oh, no. Right here. But there we go. Okay. Not bad, not bad. I have a tube. It is definitely tubes. And now I have to press it. This is going to be the trickiest part because I don't want to melt the outside fabric. I do not. Do I have a pressing cloth? I'm going to use this extra piece of fabric as a pressing cloth so that I don't damage this fabric. So the seam allowance is on this side, and I'm just trying to get it so it's smashed as flat as I can because everything's wanting to make this nice and floofy. It really does not want to lay flat. It's okay. I'm going to make it lay flat, and then I'm going to top stitch it. It's going to work. Not my first rodeo. I will make this work. I'm not even using the pressing cloth. Oh, I don't have my water bottle. Say water helps. Like steam and water really do help. Bernie Davis, got to be careful with hot things. I appreciate that. Yeah. This is not that hot. I have it only set to moderate. It's fairly low of an iron. It's hot enough that it does something, but it's not really hot enough to scorch me, fabric, or like Toby or Bruno if they bump into it. It's not that hot at all. Ironing's so boring. It really is very, very boring. But It's the difference between, so yes, these were all ordered, manufactured, generic bridesmaid dresses. Most bridesmaid dresses are. It's really, really, really hard to have everybody in matching dresses and not use generic, you know. But one thing you can do to make your dress, costume, whatever thing you ordered off the internet, especially your dress, get it dry cleaned. Take it to a professional dry cleaner. You've already spent the money to get it ordered, to ship it, and to have it. And I know you haven't worn it yet, but if you get it dry cleaned, it'll get pressed, like professionally pressed. And this dress has been professionally pressed, and oh my gosh, does it make night and day difference. I was actually thinking about doing a video taking a packaged costume and steaming it and showing just how big of a difference going through and steaming a costume can make, like prepping a packaged costume and how to do it right, you know, ideas working on, but steaming and ironing go a long way when you want to look really put together, especially when everybody's wearing the same thing. Think flat thoughts. Think flat thoughts. Don't curve now. Granted, it will tie in a lovely bow. Yes, everybody go check out Pieces to Props channel. Not right the second, but yeah, go check out his channel. It's been a while since you posted anything, but get back into it. Yeah, I feel yeah. It is not easy creating content. That is why I decided just to do the live streams and bring you all along for the journey. Because if I waited till I edited something, we'd still be waiting. I have not wanted to edit. Least favorite part of the process. Come on, smush, 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 smush. I see a wrinkle. I'm not going to put that stick. I'm pressing this first because it's going to lay a lot nicer, but also because then I'll know what to expect on the next one. Yeah. Bernie Davis says, I have 0 videos on my channel. What kind of videos do you want to make? Almost there, almost there. I'm really glad that I averaged out where the grain line was on this, because I don't think I could have gotten this any bigger. And had I done it just to follow the curve and did it 2 inches from the edge, I would have turned, this thing would have been all wonky. Like, been a lot harder. It already has a bit of a curve to it, but this will work for a tie. It'll tie nicely. one to the side and do the other side. It's almost 11 already. Doesn't feel like it. Didn't change my stitch length, didn't change my tension. Started on this side. Okay, so does this already feel narrower than this? No. Okay. Just making sure. This is wonkier than the other side, but it's gonna be okay. Yeah, this side's definitely wonkier than that side. Oh shoot, did I get, I'm getting off, no! Just gonna stop. What am I saying? I'm getting off. Oh no, oh no. So, see how it's twisting? Green line, blah, blah, blah. I am trying to avoid this. This piece only has a slight curve in it. Perfect for a strap. This, I know this one's not inside out, but not on my watch. Where I am off at the beginning, it's right here. What if I'm gonna try going the other way. Just rip this out real quick. I might be able to fix this. It may just be slightly curvy. We'll see. If it worked the first time, that would be no fun. No. Oh, thank you, Austin Lips. Austin says I'm doing a good job tonight. I appreciate that, especially since I just messed up. Well, I didn't mess up. If I continued on that path, we'd have a twisted road ahead of us, that's for sure. Yeah, now I'm thinking about Taco Bell and I am hungry. I have a seam ripper. I'll put this down for a minute. I'm really glad that I didn't do the super tiny stitch length because part of me was like, it's going to be permanent. But I was like, no, that'll be a pain to deal with. All right, here's a genuine question. Can you guys hear Toby snoring? Or is that sound filtered out? All right. I am going to pin this in half. You really have to know the rules in order to break them. It helps. It really does help. Because this isn't perfectly on grain, but it's not too off that it's going to twist super bad. This is where it's twisting. Right here. Oh. In response to it, can you guys hear my my Toby snoring? Pieces to Prop says, between my cat snoring and my wife snoring, it's filtered. Oy, I could sleep through trains going by. My dad's snoring was significantly worse, and my little sister's, but I could totally sleep through it. I haven't been told whether I snore, but I have been told that I talk in my sleep. And my little sister, she used to jump around, like sleepwalk a little bit. I thought that was interesting. Okay, this is the tricky spot right here. This is where my fold Anyways, pre-pinned it. Minimal twisting. Minimal. And I can probably press that out. So let's try this again. This way. Normally I sew over my pins, but this gives me wrinkles if I do, so I'm not. Austin Liv says, this might sound really weird, but I talk to myself, but it helps me figure stuff out. I do that all the time. Talking to myself right now. I know you guys are here, but yes, I 100% talk things out. I remember learning about what's that Japanese art of floral arranging. Um, anyways, they talk to the flowers. Like, and I remember going, that actually genuinely makes sense. Like, because they have to thread wires up and through the stems, and it's like, ooh, did that hurt? Are you okay? Let me do that. It makes a lot of sense, just kind of talking things out auditorially while you're doing them. It makes sense to my brain. It really does. While you're doing them, it makes sense to my brain. It really does. Bernie Davis also is on the team. We talk to ourselves. A says, not weird at all. Austin, I do it all the time. Actually, one of the pieces of advice Odin gave me was like to be able to do live stream without all by myself. He was like, just talk to yourself while you're going through the steps. It really does help. I narrate while I'm working on projects. I'm like, I could totally see him narrating on his projects. Okay, there's a little bit of a gather, but I think just push that out. There you go. All right. Any more? Yeah. Like, I talk to myself about projects all the time, but my favorite is to argue about projects. Not like yell and scream about projects, but working at the costume shop, James and I had different opinions all the time, completely. Like the way things should go, like the way this should look or be sewn, or you know what I mean? And ultimately, James was my boss, so what he said went, but I would also voice my opinion very loudly, like, I don't think that's going to look good, or I think you should do it this way. And honestly, between like the pushback between us going, I like this, I like that, you know, like we always ended up with something better than either one of us could have come up on our own. And I have a bunch of friends that I'm like that with. It's like, oh, I have this idea and I want to do it this way. And they give me a suggestion. Why don't you try this? And I go, no, I think I'm going to do it this way. But talking it out now, I'm assured that this is the way I wanted to do it. I don't know. But yeah. Talk it out all the time. Okay. I don't want to be here too much longer. I don't want to be going to midnight. Definitely don't want to be going to midnight. But I do want to finish this belt. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Let me press. I made a lemonade right before I started. Even put it in a non-spillable container because I was working with sewing and I didn't want to accidentally screw up or make a mess. So I put it in a container with a lid and a straw, and I left it over there. Oh well. It is pieces to props. It's okay. It's 2 a.m. here. I don't want to be going to 2 a.m. Bernie Davis, it's 2:06 here. Oh, geez. Austin Lip says, I talk to myself even though it's in my room. Talking to myself is like, what am I going to do and how's it going to figure this stuff out, for example. Makes complete sense, honestly. I at least have Toby, Bruno, and Spooky, and I can pretend that I'm talking to them. Although they do respond. Yeah. Toby judges me for singing off key. He will like give me a look like, what was that? East Coast represent. So everyone's over there on the East Coast right now. Well, Austin, Bernie, and Pieces to Props. That's nice. Alright. Ace representing Central Time at 1:08 a.m. 1 o'clock in the morning. Just taking the time and doing this nicely. It's going to lay flat and do what it needs to do. But after I'm done pressing this, I am going to top stitch it so that all my pressing work doesn't go away when it gets washed. It's 11 over there where you are. Yeah, it's 11:09 right now. It is 11:09, so it's not that late. But I'm over in California on the last people, the end of the world cycle, the day cycle. So this right here, this is a clapper. It's a fancy 2x4 that has been ingeniously designed with little notches on the side, so it fits my hand lovely. You know, it's very ergonomic 2x4, but it's a piece of wood that absorbs the heat and the moistures and adds weight so that when, see how fluffy this side is? See how flat this side is? Just using the heat alone is not going to flatten this on its own. It's still going to puff up. See, it's still going to puff up, but pressing it with the heat and then putting the weight and the of the block and just letting it cool is what's going to set the press. It's sort of like the blast of cold air when you're blow drying your hair after you're done to set your hairstyle, keep the volume. But yeah, Brittany Davis, clap off the clapper. Yeah, no, this is the Taylor clapper by June Taylor. I love this thing. Thank you, Mom. Yeah, but it's a fancy 2x4. But the right tools make the job easy. Not having the right tools, it's a lot more. I struggle more. But yeah. And when I'm pressing, I'm really, you see how they're starting to be a little, trying to keep this as flat as possible. We don't want those there. But there's a little bit of a curve. There's a little bit of a curve on the other one. Okay. Pieces to Props, story of my life, not having the right tools and parts. Right? I can't exactly say that because my dad is a mechanic and has tons of tools. just tons of tools. And my mom has all the sewing and crafting supplies. And oh, she absolutely hated when I was a kid getting into all her stuff, so did my dad. So, but couldn't keep me away from the scissors, couldn't keep me away from the tape. But I would do things anyways without the right tools. And geez Louise, did I appreciate having the right tools. They make a difference, and I will do it anyways, whether I have the right tool or not. But I definitely appreciate having the right tools. Now I have 2 strips. I am going to they're so pressed nicely that I could get away with just using them as ties here, but I think I'm going to be so much happier if I top stitch them. I'm just going to do it. And if I don't like it, I can rip it out, but I'm not going to rip it out because that's annoying. But I will do the longest stitch length, so it's not like too crazy. I feel you, Austin. Austin says, I used to have lots and lots of tools, but people kept using them and not giving them back, so I barely have any tools anymore. I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. I genuinely do. But that's also why I have millions of pairs of scissors. Because I don't like not having scissors. I really don't. All right. Let me do this side. Oh, nice. Okay. Don't hate this. Looks like it started scrunching up, so push. Tie. Yay! I know it's such a simple thing, but it's ridiculously tricky when you're on a curve. Anyways, got that as straight as I possibly could. And difference between top stitch and not top stitched. This one's a little wrinkly and needs another pressing, but Austin Liv says they borrow like a hammer and a screwdriver, and when I get them back, they are rusty. Yeah, I don't know. I like having. I do have a few rusty hammers, but it's the rusty hammer, and then I have my nice hammer. I lend out the rusty hammer, and I keep the nice hammer. Screwdrivers. I don't have a good set of screwdrivers like my dad does, and I know what a good set, but I have the crappy kind of the cheap ones that if you like, they're not meant for like a tough nail or screw. But I have my drill I absolutely love, so. But yeah, having good tools makes a difference, and having the right tools makes a difference. Priestess Prop gonna start a channel called Tool Repo. I get tools back from nosy neighbors and people you've lent them to. I'm a tool borrower. I'm not like, I won't keep your tool. I promise. My dad would get mad if I didn't put things back. Although I still have his Sawzall. I do need to return that. Shh, don't tell. Okay. We have a flat piece. We have a rectangle. Yay, celebration. Let me stitch this one and then we'll press it again. Can OxyClean unrust your tools? I like Coca-Cola, personally, for derusting tools. Okay. So I'm starting on the side that has the stitching and I'm pulling it a little tight. But then when I sew on this side, I'm holding onto the stitching side so that it kind of evens it out. At least I feel like I'm evening out and not exasperating the problem. This was the twirlier piece and I feel it. There's just, it's okay. Okay, we got this. pieces to props. That's it. Felicia's going to get repoed. Better yet, Felicia and Idle are safe from the law of Tomedy. I don't typically steal other people's tools. I currently have some of my dad's. I do. Not like a ton, but I have a few of my dad's. And I have wooden scissors. But he said I could have them, so that doesn't count. Yeah, I think that's the only thing I stole from Odin is his scissors that I can think of. So, if my dad had me repoed, I'd be mad. Why is this gathering? This is weird. This isn't supposed to be happening. I'm distracted. I'm not. Well, at least it ripped out super easy. But no point finishing a mistake. Just cut the losses. Less stitches to rip out. Okay, that feels better. Wonder what that. Probably watch it on replay and go, oh, I messed that up. Getting distracted. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. Is there anything funky going on? Let me just rethread this. If your sewing machine's being a little funky, rethread it. It usually fixes the problem. It's like, have you tried turning it off and on again? Sewing machine, have you tried rethreading it? And then, have you tried replacing the needle? That fixes majority of your issues. Skip stitches, etc. Freshly threaded. Let's give this another go. Okay. Oh my goodness, we're at 11:30. Just feels way more gathery. I'm not enjoying this. I probably can press this little bit of a wrinkle out. I'm giving myself long string tails because I'm pushing the gathers down the string and I don't want to unthread. I don't want to pull the threads out on accident. Okay. Something feels like a piece of noodle. I'm not liking this side as much at all. Not at all. Why did that one stitch so nicely and this one give me ruffled edges? Don't know, but I'm starting to make stupid mistakes, and if I keep going through stupid mistakes, I'm going to make worse mistakes. So let's see if I can fix this. If I can't, I think I want that upstairs. All right. I'm adding a little liquid to this to see if that will help things. I like your attitude, Bernie. Life is a series of mistakes. How else are we going to learn? I agree. What I found interesting was I can look in people's kits, like when we were at the SAC anime, and I see experience. I'm like, ooh, you ran into that issue. Yeah, that sucks, doesn't it? I see all the experience, Miss Frizzle. Just like make mistakes, get messy. Yes. Okay. That really did help. Okay. The liquid did help. It's making a big difference. Gotta smoosh it, and you gotta smoosh it, and you gotta smoosh it. Heat is your friend. Okay, that is acceptable. I will take it. This looks much better. Pieces Prop Sewing Tech 101. Your representative is Felicia. Well, I made lots of mistakes. I could tell you all about them, that's for sure. Almost there. People straight agreeing makes a difference. Want things to lay flat. Grids will do that. Oh, Austin Lip says, I searched up the Golden Gate Bridge and it's 90 years old. Rivet, 1.2 million rivets helped the bridge stand up with millions of people on it in 1987, strong at 90. Interesting. I heard that like they had a big celebration where they got a bunch of people on the bridge and then was like, oh shoot, it's bending the wrong way. Get everybody off. Or is that just I'm thinking of a different bridge? Too many stories. But yes, the Golden Gate Bridge is very impressive of a bridge. I've seen it several times. Pieces to Prop says, you should have a cosplay brand and your catchphrase should be, any issues? Just smoosh it. Smoosh it. Just smoosh it and smoosh it. kind of just gotta, puzzle pieces don't fit together, just smoosh it. No, that one's like, if you're having to smoosh the puzzle pieces together, maybe they don't go together. All right, that was much better. The ironing did help. Okay. Let me make these two rectangles the same size now because I have two ugly ends. This is all right. This piece I'm going to cut off here because it's all lumpy in this part of it. Actually, I'm going to mark this part with a pin. I may just shove the excess into the belt. But I am going to use this as my reference. Right here. I'm trying to think of how I'm going to twirl this inside out. Because I've got to attach it here and here. Sorry, my brain is thinking of how I'm going to solve this puzzle. And I think I know what I'm going to do. I am going to start with trimming this down because it is an inch too long all the way down. Trim this so it's the same length as this piece right here. I had a needle and thread specifically in this thing, so I wouldn't lose it, but I already lost it. There it is. Knew I had a needle and thread. Okay, instead of trying to put this through the sewing machine, the excess piece I took off, I'm just going to do a little running stitch to gather this edge. Back and forth and back and forth. It was the 50th anniversary in 1987 and it bent, but it still stands. Okay, so I did hear that weird story and it did bend. Brainy Davis says, ooh, Felicia merch. I'd buy that hoodie. Smoosh it and you smoosh it and you smoosh it. All right. Okay. Okay. I have my gathers evened out now, and back stitch to lock it in place. And that side came out when I ripped it out, so I'll do the same thing over here. Schultz division, morning. So morning, I have 30 minutes before it's morning, before it's tomorrow. It is still Friday over here. Almost done. Let me gather this. I don't really need to add these gathers. It would have been significantly easier if I just did a straight belt, and that is completely valid to do a straight flat belt. But I think this will just look nice. And that is just my opinion, and giving myself a little extra work just because I think it'll be pretty. Mm-hmm. Oh, did it pull out? What? It did. Okay, so I threaded my needle and I have a knot at the end, but the knot just pulled straight out. You can't just use a knot to start your hand sewing. You take 3 stitches, 2 stitches, 3 stitches I typically do out of muscle memory. Stitches in place, and then you stitch, and then you're going to lock your stitches in place and it won't pull out like it just did for me. So you got to anchor it in the seam allowance. Do 2 stitches in place and then gather it up. Pieces to prop it is okay. It is past midnight for you. I only have 15 minutes till midnight. And I think you guys are about 3 hours ahead, I think. Anyways. Feel free to go to sleep. I am just finishing this up. Okay. And then I'll gather that. I feel so guilty being up so late because I'm like, should be sleeping, people. I should be sleeping. I'm not going to though. Not yet. Project mode. Almost done though. Okay. Now that I kind of basted some gathers in on the side. I love it. You guys are living in the future. So I'm hanging out with the night owls right now. Okay, so this sandwich that I have going on right here, this is my piece of heavy muslin. It's more of that cloth that I have. It's going to be my sturdy interfacing. Inside of here, I have my lining fabric and my satin fabric. Now, between the satin and the lining, not the cotton, I am going to put my ties in. So many strings. I don't want the strings. I'm going to put the tie in to my pin that I marked so that they're the same length. I will let this excess hang out and I'll trim off the excess. But there's no top and there's no bottom and right side or wrong side yet. But these ties, there is I don't know if you guys can see it, but I totally can see it because it's backlit. But there is the side that has the seam allowance in it and then the side that doesn't. The side with the seam allowance is the longer side and the side without the seam allowance is the shorter side. So when you put this onto if it's an apron string or, kind of a thing, you would put the seam allowance side on the bottom so that the curve at the waist was making a smile. Does that make sense? So there's definitely an up and a down. There's not an up and a down or a right, which is my top or my bottom yet on this piece. So I just have to make sure that I put these pieces in consistently so I don't have one that's upside down, because there's not an upside down yet, but there's about to be. So thread this in. And I'm going to put that in the center. I'm just going to put the pin in real quick. I'll deal with that in a sec. And on this side too. Now, this is officially my top. I'll just mark it with a pin so I have orientation as to where I am. So this is my top, this is my bottom. It makes the slight curve. And I'm going to thread it in with this side hanging out. Austin Lips. Yeah, I need to go to bed, but until the end. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Schultz Division says it's almost 9 in the morning here. Oh, good morning. Good morning. It's almost 9. So that would be, you're in Australia? Schultz Division says, remember to leave a like on the stream. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you guys. I'm starting to get tired. I really am. But I need to have this done by Sunday. And I'm not going to work on it tomorrow. So if I don't finish it on the stream, I'm not going to finish it. So I want to get as much of this done as I can. So the little pieces are only this narrow, but my piece is significantly wider. Now that I have them pinned in place, I'm just going to pleat them. fold it in towards the center and fold it in towards the center like this, and I'll pin it. And then I'll sew it, and then I'll stitch it, flip it inside out. How am I going to flip it inside out? I've already thought of that, so give me a second. No, this is the gathery side, but I'm trying to keep it as neat and not lumpy as possible. Okay. PG tips. Pin this in place like this. Yeah. Got this crazy thing going on now. Turn it off again, off and on again, and it goes back to the beginning, the original stitches. I increased the stitch length just a little because I did a test sample on this fabric and the original stitch length is just too tight. It takes way too little of bites and it gets all tangly. So no funny pieces pulling out. I'm going to do a second stitch just because. 10 minutes till 3 a.m., 10 minutes till midnight right now. Jeez Louise. Well, thank you guys for staying up with me while I work on this project. Austin Lips says, it's looking good tonight, stitching up or sewing the bride thing. Sorry, I forgot the name. It's dark. The bride thing. Oh, the bridesmaid's dress. Yes. Yeah, I missed a spot on this one. Pieces to prop. It's not that I want to distract you, but last question, I promise. Do you get to a point in a project that you start thinking about the next one? I get halfway through painting and my mind wanders. The thing is I'm always thinking about other projects. Like currently I have a avant-garde look that I am working on. I was supposed to get the fabric this week, but I'm kind of glad it wasn't delivered because my brain's still chewing on the patterns of it. I haven't started working on it, but my brain is thinking about it. I'm also and I wanted to stream while I worked on that project a little bit. I'm also thinking about, I'm making my mom a dress right now and talk about a difficult client, you know, because you care so much. It matters. And it's, anyways, that going on. It's like I am working on projects, thinking about other projects while it's just like, okay, yeah. There is never not, what is the other project? There's just like, oh, what am I currently making progress on? Ace, I want to stay till the end, but I have a few projects I have to do tomorrow. My brain is telling me I gotta get some shut-eye. Good luck on finishing this up tonight, Felicia. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry I kept you up all late, but yeah, no, get your projects done. Do your homework. Is that what it is? Brittany Davis, I'm halfway done with so many things. I think I don't tend to leave things at the halfway point. I leave things at the very beginning or just the very almost end. You like, I will get everything going for a project, but not cut it out of fabric. Because once you cut out of the fabric, then it's committed and then you have to. So I will get stuck at the cutting out the fabric stage, or yeah. So instead of doing it at either end, I just ripped a small hole in the center, and I'm just going to flip it out through the center, and then I can just stitch that up. I either can do it by hand or just top stitch it with the sewing machine. I may end up just top stitching it with the sewing machine. It's late. It's late. How did I do that? This side's the correct way. How did that? This is why I shouldn't talk and craft at the same time. It makes it hard. What did I do wrong? This is the wrong. I see what I did. This one was in the right sandwich layer, and I got distracted and put this one in the wrong sandwich layer. It's late. It is very late. It is almost midnight. It is too late. Where's the part? Yep. Isn't that in the right? No. It's in the wrong sandwich layer. I wasn't paying attention. That's okay. I can fix this. Where's my seam ripper? Okay. Womp womp. Yep. It is a mistake. That's okay. I at least figured out what was going on. And did 2 layers of stitching, so I get to rip out 2 layers of stitching. Not being gentle. All right. Now the this needs to go in this layer. Making sure my tops and bottoms are correct at least. Same layer, same layer, same layer. I haven't done that before, but oh well. Something. Now I know. Make sure my lengths are at least the same length. I can't do that. Oh well, I'm gonna make this one as long as I possibly can, and then I'll shorten it from that side. Because this was my nicer of the two ties sides. Can't believe I did that, but oh well, I'm live. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. I have a seam ripper. It works. It's 3 a.m. now. It is now midnight. Yeah, let me fix this mistake, and then I'll have a belt. All right, let's try this again. All right, now we're on the correct side. Okay. Okay. So this is definitely going to need some pressing, but it's not too bad, honestly. I think that is going to work great for a gathery belt. So it's an off the shoulder, reminds me of Cinderella. It's actually a really lovely wedding dress, bridesmaid dress. A very lovely bridesmaid dress. So the whole point of this belt was to raise the waistline, this line right here, up to here. And that is exactly what this is doing. It's going to hold it all together. It has a tie, so I don't have to stress about the sizing for the people. It will lay nicely. Whew, it's going to be pretty. That's the important part, that it's going to be pretty. I have to press this. I have to take out, trim the threads, and finish the edges. The finished edges are easy enough. I'll make it pretty. I got rid of all the puckering that was in these seams. It just needs to be ironed, like steamed a little bit, and it'll get rid of the little pulling, but the boning right here is in the way. But got rid of those. Can't change the waistline, but I can belt it. I can sash it, and it'll fix the problem. And it's not, this belt is not super obvious that the dress has been altered, and it'll still match the line of people. And I am just going to hand stitch these elastics into place. Not going to do that live because that's very boring to watch. And yeah, I think this is going to look very lovely. It's going to, the one thing I wanted to do before I go, where's my needle and thread? Did I hide it from myself again? Yes, I did. All right, I'm going to rethread. This needle. All right, so I want to do a little thread loop so that the belt goes where I want the belt to go. So it hits on the body where it's going to be flattering, where we want it, and it'll look nice. I am going to do a thread bar, well, a thread loop. I guess that's, I don't know if that's a technical term. I feel like it has a name, but I'm going to do, this might be the wrong thread for this job, but I really like it with this fabric. We'll see. But I'm going to make a little thread loop so that it has a place anchored to the dress, and it will end up where it needs to be. So I'm going to go right at the side seam, and I have it marked, this pin, believe it or not, still survived where the natural waistline is supposed to be. I'm going to use that as my mark on the side seam, and I am going to press all the way down to pick up right on the top of the boning. So I'm going to get like all that fabric in there and get a good bite on my needle. And I'm going to take about 2 stitches in that exact same spot to anchor my thread in there. Yes, my thread is a little too long for what I should be doing, but it'll be okay. Okay, now I'm going to go back through my loop, but I'm not going to pull all the way through. I'm going to hold, so I have my fabric, I have my stitch through my stitches, and I have it threaded through, but I didn't pull it all the way through. I am going to basically hand crochet. You're just going to grab through the loop and pull the knot down, through the loop and pull the knot down. And I am going to make a thread loop this way. The reason I wasn't excited about using this thread is just because it's such a thin, lightweight thread that it takes a lot to make a thread loop. Where a bulkier thread like a buttonhole thread, it'll go real quick. Because you can, but I think this little delicate one will be nice. And I have to make this loop big enough that my belt can fit through without squishing it. So it just holds it in place without making it all funky and awkward. Happy mistake. I subscribed twice on my PlayStation and now on my phone. Well, thank you, Austin Lips, for all the support. It's 3 a.m. now. It's noon. Yeah. Austin Lips says it's midnight where I am. Yep, it's 8 minutes past midnight. Brittany Davis, if I had the frame, I would wear it. Well, the nice thing about a sash is it works with everybody's figure. That's why I chose a sash. Pieces to props. If I was a bridesmaid, I'd be ecstatic to wear that belt. Well, thank you. That belt will not sashay away. Spider webbing. Oh, when I was a little kid, read a book about a little bunny rabbit who had a spider friend who made her a dress out of spider webs, and I've been obsessed ever since. I have made many lace dresses, but still, I want a spider web dress. Austin Lips, all right, I'll finish up. Austin Lips says, well, my brain wants to hit the bed, and it's working all day and night, but I'm still watching till the end. Almost time to say goodbye shortly. All right, this thread is it takes way more of these than normal. I just wanted to get the belt anchored to the dress so that it hits where it needs to and nobody's having to pinch it, pull it. Got a knot. I know I'm making a bunch of knots, but I didn't want that knot. There we go, much better. This is so relaxing, but it takes forever. Not forever, ever, but. Belt. And that. Slightly longer. And twirled all around. Okay, back to where it was. Okay. Schultz Division, how's the weather in your area, Felicia? All the flooding gone? I don't know how if it's all dried up yet. Where I am, I wasn't particularly affected by flooding itself. We more had electricity out and storm damage from the wind and stuff, but I lucked out pretty good. And it looks like we're going to be going live on Sunday. I talked to Odin about it. And as of right now, we're still planning on going live on Sunday. And I can't talk and do this at the same time, apparently. Hold on. I'll do one more. There we go. So I made a little thread cord string. It's thicker on this part. And then I am going to stitch 2 stitches right back to where this thread is coming out to finish my loop and tie it in place. I am only going to anchor it on one side because I think it really only needs, you know what, no, I'm going to do both sides. I'm just going to do it because it'll be right. But yeah, you don't even see this, but this is a little fabric loop on the side of the dress that's going to hold the belt exactly where you want it to stay. Because the loops are frayed. Feels nice. Okay, that's there. Okay, let me just put one of those marked on the other side. Yeah, see, I have my pins marking. So this, had I had the space to take it out at the hem, is probably would have been a little bit of a trickier fix because I would have had to adjust the zipper. But waist length makes a huge difference on fitting. I've gotten to a point where I can look at a picture and I could tell you what's wrong with the pattern, why it doesn't fit. When brides would put in their photographs, I'm not judging. I really am not judging. I'm just looking at them and I'm going, okay, this number says something. And I see a picture, numbers make sense. Okay, that's what those numbers are. And what I always thought was interesting is that when I was like, these numbers sound funny, and then I look at the picture and the person's wearing a shirt and it's pulling funny. And it's like, I know exactly why it's pulling funny because they're the numbers, not the numbers are off, but you know, the numbers aren't right for their measurements. Like it's either the shoulder's too narrow / too wide. So if you have a wide shoulder or narrow shoulder, you often have fitting issues. Short-waisted, long-waisted, yeah, I don't know. It's just the combination of being short-waisted but long torsoed. Lots of different, just a lot of different fitting issues that I've dealt with. And when I looked up the original of this dress, the photo of the models wearing it, one model's long-waisted and one model short-waisted. And if the short-waisted model had it trimmed up to her waist, it would have fit her perfectly, but I could see the wrinkles. I know what those wrinkles mean. I think it's funny in old sewing books, they'll have pictures of the wrinkles saying, if it's wrinkling like this, then you make the adjustment here. If it's wrinkling like that, you make the adjustment here. And it's like, seems like it's all super complicated. Like, what? You need to read the wrinkles. No, it's just, it's pulling funny because your measurements are off. Come on. I'm tangled. Don't be tangled. I'm tangled. Oh well. I ripped the thread. I think it's 44 where Felicia is and 39 here in Ohio. 40. Brittany Davis says, I'm a roly-poly-oly. It's hard to find things that fit well. Right? I am very good at fitting people. I can pick things off the rack that will fit you by just eyeballing it. I had to get very good at that because at the costume shop, people do not appreciate trying on things that don't fit. And I don't blame them. I get claustrophobic sometimes if it's something that it doesn't fit and it's like you can't get out of it and you're sweaty, because always when you're trying on clothes for some reason, it's like gets hot and sweaty and yucky. I don't know, like, but I got really good at picking out clothes that fit people. Last time I went to the mall with a friend, I was helping them pick out clothing for it was a special event for their kid. Anyways, but while we were hanging out at the dressing room, there was a lady who had just gotten a job at the school district. Anyways, and so she was all excited and getting her professional wardrobe together because she needed a lot of good blazers and stuff. And her husband was going around really trying to help, and like he was hanging out with me outside of the dressing rooms because we were both like with a group of people outside the dressing rooms. And he's like, he saw me pulling things for my friends, and he's like, oh, my wife needs blazers for this. Do you see anything that would help? And so I went around and I pulled like 10 or 12 blazers. Like, I don't know, it was a lot of blazers. And he grabbed some too because he was getting excited. And the only ones that she didn't end up buying out of the ones I picked was the one he picked. And then there was also this white one that was a petite, but I knew it wasn't going to fit, but it was cute. It was worth a try. But it was like one of those things. It's like, I could, this is gonna fit you. This is gonna fit you. Yeah, like costume shop, I had to do suit jackets for guys, so I got really good at identifying suit jackets. I used to be good at doing it based off the neck measurement because we had a little cheat sheet, and it's kind of crazy how men's shirts really, like the neck measurement like really determines the fit more than any of the other measurements. And I don't know why there's such a correlation between that, the neck measurement and the way it fits around your waist. Who knows? But yeah, it is hard being in a dressing room. It is hard picking out clothes, and it is hard feeling comfortable and excited and happy. But working at a costume shop, you want people to be happy. You want people to get excited to go to the party and not feel like they don't get to go because none of the costumes look good on them, you know? It's like, no, let's find you something you feel good in, and then you'll be ready for the party. Okay, I just totally went on a rant, but yeah. Okay. Pieces of prop, I hate to say this, but I have to catch the rest on the replay. I'm super beat. LOL. Super nice chatting with everyone. Hopefully see you all next time. Well, thank you. I am just going to finish this loop up and call it a night. I'm almost there. To make sure that it's about the same size as the other one before I call it a night. But yeah. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for staying so long. I know it is ridiculously late. So this Sunday, I'm going to go live on Odemix's channel, on his channel on Sunday. I'm not going to go, I don't know what my schedule is going to be 100% next week, but I do have that side quest that I am going to work on. So whenever I pull that out, I will go live. That may end up being in the afternoon. So not so late. Okay. Oh, it needs a little bit longer, and I already. But I don't know which date specifically I am going to go live next week, but I am going to work on that. I do have a project that I have to work on, and I'm going to be doing it next week. Almost there. Running out of thread. Almost there. A little bit longer. A little bit longer. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody who joined me on this journey. I genuinely had fun, and I think the person that's going to wear this will enjoy it and look amazing in it. I think it'll fit them nicely, and hopefully everything works out great. If not, I can help them when I see them again and get it tried on. Yeah. One more stitch. these little pins. I'll hand stitch that tonight. No, I'm not doing that tonight. I'm just going to do it in the morning. I will steam this before I put it back in the bag so that when it comes out, it will look fresh and perfect. Ugh, excuse me. Steamer is your friend. I have a giant steamer that I absolutely love. I've owned industrial steamers. My favorite one is my Rowenta steamer, but I also have this little handheld steamer that Courtney gave me, and I absolutely love it. Like, I don't think Courtney realizes how much I absolutely love this stupid iron. It is dangerous. I don't let anybody else use it because it steams. This is a steamer. It's not an iron. This is an iron. This is a steamer. This is metal. This is plastic. This I fill up with salt water. A little bit of salt, salt water. Psh, evil, but it does a great job. So I will be steaming this. Not right now because I'm ready for bed. It is 25 minutes past midnight. But the hard part of that dress is done. I have a cute, pretty belt I need to press. And yeah, anything I missed? Okay, I'm crashing. I'm definitely crashing. Thank you for joining me. I will see you all next week, sometime, eventually. Figure it out. But I will be live next Sunday again. On this Sunday. I mean, I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. Thank you for joining me. Good night. Sweet dreams. Please get some sleep, people. And people who are waking up, I hope you got some good sleep. Thank you. Bye. And end.